Hello everyone, welcome to Tradeland FX Technical Market Outlook for the 17th of August 2022. Let's look at our chart. Let's see what we have today. Now we can see the Euro USD pair 4 hours chart. Discovered that last time we were on a range. You can see Euro USD is in a range right now, but it broke out and retested and went up and hit this resistance area, but it didn't stop there. It now dropped and went back into the range. So we are back into the range, guys, back into the range. Let's see what will happen. The fundamentals will give us what may happen next, but let me see what my trade lines will tell me. All right, there's my lines. Okay, so overall we're in a range. You can see that it's very it's not steep enough, so it has gone this way before and somehow testing our 200 moving average. Okay, so let's see how it goes. So two things might happen. All right, there's a high chance that price may still break below and hit this level of support, which is very possible. Okay, so but we're looking at something. All right, there's high chance that it may bounce back and go back up. All right, okay, so let's see how this goes. All right, next let's look at our British pound USD 4 hours. Okay, can we see what's happening here? Let me update my zone. All right, and move it. Can you see it's respecting this area very much? So price is trying to break out and go back, so price has been trying to break out of these levels. It broke out and went back up. So can you see that it hit here, it went back up and it retested, went back up, but it refused to make a higher high. Understand? Okay, so it broke out of this level. Can you see it broke out of this range? It broke out, retest and went back up. Can you see that, guys? So price is still in a range in this area, so it has refused to break out of this level. Can you see that area? All right, so it has refused to break our trend line has been broken. Can you see that? All right, okay, I think I should extend this trend line, okay, so that we'll see the complete picture of what's happening. Okay, wow, this is to the pip, guys. Can you see what happened? So price broke it broke here, it broke this trend line. Can we see? Let me get a better color. Broke this trend line and it reacted in this area of support. Of course, it went up and retested this level and slammed down. Okay, can you see that, guys? So it broke out and it also broke out of this level. Can you see it's retesting this level right now? Okay, can you see that this level, and it went down? So we are still in this zone right now. So price may break below, maybe come to this level of support, and there's a high chance it might hit a serious bearish and bullish pressure this area. Let's see how it goes. All right, okay, let's look at British pound, Japanese yen. Okay, some people call it the GG. All right, it has a nice feel to it, right? Okay, so what's happening to the GG? Okay, it's overall bullish, bearish. Can you see my trend line? Okay, can you see? So price has been reacting in these areas, but we can see that price stopped at this point, so price didn't move to the upside. So we're having rejections and rejections. Okay, so price may still move up to this side and hit this trend line. Okay, since it has been respecting it, so there's high probability that price may hit this area and drop below, but it has to contend with this area. This area is very strong. It's a strong area of support. So if it does respect this area, we may still see a push up to the upside. Okay, let me see how many pips that will give us. All right, let's see. Okay, this like is 2 pips. That's a lot. If it's one lot size, that's about 600 pips. Can you see that, guys? Okay, but I'm still watching my moving averages. Yes, my 200, 150. Okay, they are still giving me a bearish bias, but let's see how it goes. So if the moving averages are expected, of course we may have a break to the downside. Yeah, and we have this place of support to contend with. This region is also strong. Price broke below it sometimes back, but it made its way back into this range. So it's more like a ranging market. Okay, so let's see how that goes. Okay, I think I should put a trend line here. Let's see what happens. All right, let me see. Okay, so we have possibilities here. So if it goes back down, we may be targeting this area of support. Can you see this trend line has been respecting this area for some time now? So there's a high chance it will come back here and possibly bounce back up, and of course it may bounce back down. So that's a possibility. If it does respect this area, of course, and if it doesn't, it will go back down and we'll see further move to the downside. Of course, the fundamentals will give us, yeah, can you see we have a trend line here? Okay, it's a trend line here, so it may reach out to this area also. Okay, let's see who we have next. All right, let's look at the next currency pair, the USD Canadian dollar. Okay, so what's happening to the Canadian dollar? Okay, I think we'll have to draw some trend lines here. Okay, let's see. Okay, can we see what's happening here, guys? All right, so we have, let me zoom in. Okay, that's good. So we have this place being respected. The trend line has been respecting, the price has been respecting this trend line. Can you see we have rejection, 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 but we have a breakout of this trend line. Okay, we have a breakout of this trend line. Let me zoom it up. Can you see what I'm seeing? Okay, this is a breakout and price closed above, but we are still contending with this area of support, of resistance. Okay, if there's a possibility, there's a possibility that price, okay, we have seen a rejection of this area still. Okay, this is a strong area of resistance. Okay, so if price continues to the upside and it breaks these zones, of course there's a possibility that we may still move up to the upside. But right now I can see this candle forming an inverted hammer, and let's see how it goes. Okay, but if price respects this area that much, of course we may see price slamming down. Okay, we might see it coming to this area. All right, let me go back and see my trend line. Let me zoom out so that I'll have a full picture. Okay, let's see what's happening. Okay, I think we may have a channel here. There's a high chance. Okay, can you see that? All right, so if price does go down, we'll be looking at these areas. Okay, so we have a confluence of trend line and a support area. Okay, so those are the possibilities that may happen. So price may break out, retest, and reach to the upside, or it may slam down and contend with this area. And of course, even if it goes below, there's a high chance that it may meet this trend line again, and we may see a possible move to the upside. Okay, because price is in the channel right now. Okay, let's see who's next. The Euro JPY. Some people call it the EJ. Okay, what's EJ telling us right now? Okay, we have a symmetrical triangle here. Okay, okay, can you see what's happening? I think we may have a channel here. Okay, can you see that it's beautifully formed? Okay, now but something's happening here. We have double bottom here, and we have a rejection of the trend line down. It is a beautiful move from down here to the upside. Can you see this pin bar? Can you see? Can you see? So price has been moving to the upside. All right, but it has hit this area. Let me use a better color. Okay, it has hit this resistance area and it's still holding on. Let's see how it reacts, because there's a high chance that it may still slam back down. Okay, it may still slam back down to this area. Of course, we have a resistance, a support down here. Can you see? We have a support, we have a confluence. Let me get a big color. All right, we have a confluence here, guys. So this is a very strong area of interest. Okay, so what may happen is price may react, may go down to this point, as it go back up because we are still in a channel, and if it doesn't respect this channel, it may still slam back down, and we may have something like this. Okay, which may happen, but if it doesn't, it may go down still, maybe a retest and down to our channel, and we'll see a continued move to the downside. Okay, okay, let's look at the USDCHF. Can you see the USDCHF right now? Okay, it's forming a wedge. It has formed a wedge, and price has been reacting on these areas. Can you see? So it's beautifully reacting, but something has happened in this area. Can you see a breakout to the downside? Price broke down to the downside, but it reacted at this area. Of course, it reacted where the significant area where you can see my 200 EMA is supporting this price now. Of course, it bounced back to the upside and is back into this wedge. Can you see that? Can you see that? Okay, so it means that price has come back into this wedge. So we're back into the wedge, but something is happening here. I think I should zoom in to my 4 hours chart. We have a reaction there. Can you see? Okay, exactly what I was trying to see. Okay, now price has been reacting to this area. Can you see? Let me zoom it up. Okay, let's make it bigger. Fine. So price has been reacting to this trend line. So we have rejection, rejection. So we may have, this may be like a bully, a breakout and a retest. Okay, price actually retested here, but it didn't go down that much. Can you see? It just went down a little, but it still respects the trend line here. So we may have a push to the downside. So if this candle finishes forming, of course we can see this serious rejection here, and the wicks are telling us the forensics, right? Okay, so we may have two possibilities. There's a high chance that price may break below, and of course if it respects this trend line, we may see a push up to the upside, and of course to this area. So let's see how many pips that will give us. Okay, this is like 20 pips plus. All right, so 20 pips plus, if it is one lot size, that will give you about $200. 10 lot size, that's $2,000. Okay, but there's a high chance that price may see break above this trend line, and of course move its way to the upside. So these are possible scenarios that may play out in the coming days. Okay, all right, so let's see Australian dollar USD. Okay, Australian dollar USD. So what's happening here? So price, okay, price was in a range. Can you see that? Price was in a range, was in an overall range, but it broke out of this area. Can you see? It broke out. There was a breakout, a retest, and went up to this resistance area, but had it dropped down back into this area. Okay, let me see what my trend line would tell me. Okay, let me get my trend line. All right, can you see what's happening right now to Australian dollar USD? So we have a breakout to the downside here. Can you see? We have a beautiful breakout to the downside, but we are still contending with this area of support. Now can you see something over there? Now my 200 EMA is here, and so is my support, and my candles are reacting. Can you see how they are reacting? Let me zoom in. Candles are reacting. Okay, we'll have a breakout to the downside, but it's reacting. Can you see that? We have reaction here, but let's see what happens. So price broke out, and we may be looking at a possible retest. Okay, a possible retest, and of course price may find its way down again to this area of support. Okay, so as the name implies, support. Can you see my 200 here is supporting the candles? The price is being supported by 200 EMA, guys. Okay, but let's see what happens. Fundamentals may play a role in how this market moves. Okay, so let's see another pair. New Zealand USD. What's happening to the Kiwi? Okay, the Kiwi is another name for New Zealand dollar. Okay, let me go to the higher time frame, daily chart. Okay, let me take this out. All right, so price has been respecting the trend line. Okay, can we see? We have rejection, and something else is happening. So we have to see if this price holds, if it respects this trend line. Can you see what's happening? Okay, so if it does, there's a high chance that price, okay, just update it. All right, so let's see what happens. This candle has not finished forming, so we can't give an exact analysis of what's happening, but we can see rejection happening, but we have to know when the candle closes. So let me go to the lower time frame and see what detail it's giving us. Okay, so we have a good breakout to the downside. Let me zoom out so that we'll have a feel of how it looks like. Okay, let me get my pen. Okay, we have price rejections all over, but here we have a breakout. There's a breakout over here. Okay, now we're looking at possible retests. Let me zoom in. Okay, then zoom in. Okay, So there's a high chance that price may break down, and since it has broken down to the downside, now it may have a possible retest and it may drop down here. Now we have our moving average, our 200 moving average, so it may give us another support here and of course bounce back up, and it continues like that. But we have to be sure and see what market tells us before we move. Okay, let the market tell you where it's going before you follow. So if this area doesn't give us what we want, there's a high chance that it may reverse back into this area, retest, and see find its way up. If it takes out this high, it can go further to the upside. Of course, the technicals will tell us, will show us what will happen to the price next. So let's see what the charts will tell us with regards to the fundamentals, right? Okay, who's next? Let's see gold. Gold. Precious gold. All right, let's see what gold will tell us. Daily chart of gold. All right, gold has been beautifully testing this trend line. Can you see our daily chart? Gold has been respecting these areas. Can you see? Okay, can you see that? So I think we can get a channel here. Okay, nice. Can you see that? So we have a confluence here. Let me zoom in. Stretch it. Okay, can you see what's happening here? So our gold has been respecting our trend line. We have a confluence of many things here. This is a weekly support area. This is a trend line from a channel, and this another trend line. So we have three things confirming this bounce. So I guess that's what gave us this move to the upside. But it respected this area of resistance. Okay, so we have a bullish, bearish engulfing candle here. So price now moved to the downside. So let me zoom in. Let me zoom out rather, so that we'll have a good feel of the market. Let's go to 4 hours. Okay, so we have a chance that price may, okay, give me a moment. All right, so price may go down because of this area. Okay, it has moving down also. It has been breaking these areas, but price may find its way down here. Of course, it's a possibility that it may break down here, have a retest, and go to the downside. Okay, and look for our trend lines. I think I should zoom this further. Okay, so the moving averages are trying to point to the upside. Can you see my 200? It's moving to the upside, but it's pointing upwards. So there's a high chance that when price comes down, it may be supported by my 200 EMA. If it doesn't, it breaks below, but if it does, it breaks above. And of course, if it keeps going down, it has a trend line to work with down here. Okay, can you see that? But if I go to a higher time frame, let's go to the daily chart. Okay, my daily chart. Okay, can you see what's happening? So if price keeps moving to the downside from my 4 hours, we may have a target of this area, and if it breaks out, it may do a retest and of course move to this trend line or the channel. Okay, so those are the possible scenarios that may play out. But if it doesn't, we go up and drop and move to the upside. Okay, let's look at crude oil. What's happened to crude oil? Crude oil has been overall bearish. Can you see that on the daily chart? It has been overall bearish. Okay, it has been going down for a while now. Okay, but it has hit a support right here. Okay, so we're having rejections, 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 but there's something happening. It has been following and bouncing and rejecting my trend lines. Okay, can you see that? Rejection, 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 rejection. Okay, but down here we now have a support zone here. All right, so I believe it's because of the talk on crude oil and the international markets. What's going to happen once there is supply back in the market? Okay, so if supply comes back in the market, we may see crude oil dipping, going back to the downside. Okay, but if it doesn't come out with if the news is not positive, okay, we may have crude oil going back up. Okay, of course, if it respects our trend line, it may slam back down. All right, because crude oil is fundamental sensitive. Okay, so those are the possible scenarios that may play out. If not, breakout, retest, and we'll see bullish moves on the crude oil. Okay, this is when West Texas Intermediate. Okay, let me look at the 4 hours chart. What is it telling us? 4 hours, let me stretch it up. Okay, can you see we're still having the same area? Okay, there's support, support, support. So we're having support in this area. Can you see that? So let me see, that's at, so crude oil I've been having support at about 85.95 dollar per barrel. Okay, so crude oil is currently trading at $88 per barrel. Okay, so those are the possible scenarios that may play out in the coming days. Okay, let's look at another asset. Okay, let's look at stocks. Okay, S&P 500. Okay, S&P 500 daily chart. It has been bullish moves all the while. Market has been risk on, risk on. Okay, let's see what's happening. So there's a high chance that we'll have a pullback to the trend line, and of course, if it respects the trend line, we may have a rally to the upside. Okay, but on the flip side, if we have a break below, okay, we may have a retest and a move to the downside. Of course, we have this area of support to contend with. Okay, so if we go to the 4-hour chart, okay, let's see what's happening in 4-hour chart. Okay, crude S&P 500 is in a channel right now. Can you see? It's in a channel. Okay, can you see that? Okay, it's in a channel. All right, so it's still in a bullish move. Okay, but let's see what the coming days will tell us. Of course, fundamentals will tell us what's happening. Okay, so can you see that, guys? All right, so if everything holds, of course, we have it moving to the downside, possible retest and break to the downside. Okay, so these are the things that may happen soon. Okay, let's go forward. Let's go to Bitcoin, cryptos. What's happening in the crypto world? All right, let's go to the daily chart. Okay, so let's look at a lower time frame. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. Can we see what is happening right now? Let me go to the recent chart. Okay, so we have S&P 500 respecting the trend line. Can you see? It has respected it so far. It tried to break below this area, but it didn't go further down. Can you see that, guys? Okay, so we have break, we have a retest, then we have a rally to the upside. It tested this area, tried to break below. It broke actually, but it didn't go down, possibly because of this area of support. So it bounced back up there. Can you see that? So if we look at this chart very well, I think we may be having crude oil forming almost like a wedge. Can you see that? Okay, so it's forming a wedge, but further look, it will show you that we have it in a range also. Okay, let me get a better color. Okay, so we have this area of resistance to contend with. So but we have a breakout of this trend line. Can we see? There's a breakout of this area. It broke below, it retested, then we have a beautiful rejection here. Can we see? So the forensic told us that price tried to break above this area, but it was pushed down by the bears. So the bears were in control and they moved it down. Okay, so but our price right now is being supported by the 100 moving average. So let's see how price will go. Okay, let's see how it will go. So what it means is that Bitcoin right now is trading at about $23,000. Okay, so what are the possible scenarios? All right, so if I adjust our trend line, okay, let's see. Okay, this is a breakout, obvious breakout. So we may see something like this. We may have a breakout as what we have now, a retest, and slam back down to this area of support. Okay, that is a possible area. So if it does, Bitcoin may start trading at about $22,000. Okay, but if it does respect our 100 moving average, there's a high chance that we may rally back up. But of course, it has this trend lines to contend with. Okay, but if it does, it has to move higher to this area. Okay, there's a high chance that it may reach this area, and how much will it be trading by then? So could Bitcoin may be trading at $24,000, okay, per Bitcoin. All right, so this is where we'll stop for now, and let's see how the market goes. See you next time.